Welcome to the Business of Apparel podcast. This is the place to learn how to start and scale your own apparel brand and fill it with loyal customers for years to come. I'm your host, Rachel Erickson, owner and CEO of Unmarked Street, and I can't wait to share this episode with you. Welcome back to the Business of Apparel podcast. Today, I want to walk you through the 3 biggest misconceptions about the fashion and apparel industry. This is a little bit of a sneak preview of the free workshop that we are going to be rolling out to our community every single Friday for 2025. Yeah, that's right. We plan to run this free workshop every single Friday so that you can jump in at any given time that works best for you. And if you sign up for a VIP ticket, you are actually going to get the replay for life. You are going to be able to access it again and again and again whenever you want. So this is a little bit of a sneak preview of what I'm covering in that Friday workshop so that if you're interested in joining us, you know a little bit of what we're going to be getting into. What I'm not going to go into today is our 3-step process for how to actually rectify these 3 biggest misconceptions about the fashion and apparel industry. But let's go through today what they are. And you might find that you've been following one of these just blindly because this is the information that's out on the internet. I've talked about this a lot in the past, right? Like there is bad information for the fashion industry, especially for startups out there. If you're starting a new brand and you're trying to figure out how to grow your company, you're trying to figure out how to make more revenue, you're trying to figure out why your sales are a little bit stagnant, you're going to find that if you are following these 3 big misconceptions and all of this bad information that's out there, you're probably going to be stuck. You're going to be really struggling. And so what we're also going to go through in our Friday workshops is not just what these are and why they're so important to not follow, but what steps you actually do need to follow and how to build a framework around the kind of work that you should be doing as a brand owner. Now, this information is really key for a couple of key groups too. We really learned over the last year by talking to a lot of different fashion design students that this information is not being taught in colleges and universities. So if you're a student out there and you're listening to this workshop is 100% for you. We are really excited to bring some students in so that you guys can learn from a really, really early stage, what it is that you need to know about this industry to make sure that you have the best career possible. You're going to be competing with a lot of other new graduates to get the best jobs, to have the best salaries. And what we're learning is that this generation really, really wants to make a great salary right off the bat. But if you don't know these things and you don't have a way to elevate yourself against all the other candidates out there, you're going to struggle. So I recommend that you come. It's 100% free. You can come. It's a 90-minute workshop. You can come to it. It's over basically your lunch break on a Friday. We tend to find that that is the best time for our community to come be in a workshop because Fridays usually tend to be a little bit slower. A lot of the companies that people are working for aren't really like hawk-eyeing them and the work that they're doing on a Friday. And if it's over your lunch break, it's also something you can say, hey, I'm going to go take my lunch. I'm going to be gone for about an hour, 90 minutes, and I'll be back. On a Friday, usually that's pretty doable. So you can come any Friday over the next year. We are going to be teaching this information, and we can't wait to see you there. And of course, this information, look, I built this course for me 10 years ago. I needed this information to figure out how to grow in my career. I was getting stagnant in my salary. Like I was not seeing raises and promotions the way that I wanted to. And it was because I was stuck doing the same thing every single day. Like I was stuck at my desk building tech packs and running fittings every single day. And when I asked to learn about costing or I asked to learn about product management and line planning, there was a whole team who was doing that on the other side of the building. And so it was not in my manager's best interest or in their best interest to teach me how to do their job. And so I was having a really hard time figuring out how to learn that information so that I could elevate my role. Because as soon as I learned costing and as soon as I learned what my merchandising team and my product management team were focusing on so hard, I became a much better teammate. I became a better leader. I was able to do much better work as a developer and a technical designer. If you imagine like that you understand costing, so when you're fitting a garment or when you're looking at the quality of a garment, or you're building a tech pack for your designer, if you already have costing in mind because you understand those aspects of the industry, it elevates you to a place where not a lot of other technical designers and developers can be. So I want you to know that this is for these key groups. If you're a startup, if you're an industry pro who really wants to get a raise or a promotion and just grow in your career, or if you're a fashion design student, this course, this workshop was built, this 90-minute class, this 90-minute course for free that we are doing every single Friday was really built with all of you in mind. And I know that that probably sounds ridiculous, right? Like, I should be niching down. I should be choosing one of these groups to really be speaking to on a regular basis. But we have found that so many people in each of these segments has been helped so much by coming to this workshop and learning this information. And so it's not actually in my best interest to seclude any of you and to narrow it down to any one of you, because it's so important to get this information out to as many people as possible. We see so many brands and we see so many professionals failing in this industry, getting frustrated in this industry, burning out from this industry. It is highly competitive. I will tell you that right now. If you decide to stay in the fashion industry for more than a few years, it's going to get competitive. People can get ruthless, and I will tell you that the people that you will not see coming out of left field are going to be the most ruthless. They're going to try to prevent you from getting raises. They're going to try to badmouth you behind your back and start rumors. This industry is freaking crazy. I have seen it all. I have heard it all. There is so much to understand. And the only way for you to overcome that and be better, be the best candidate, be the best employee, be the best brand, is to understand how the biggest billion-dollar brands are working and how they got there. And that's what I'm teaching. That's the information that I know, because that's where I've worked for the last 20 years of my career. I know this stuff inside and out. I've sat at those executive tables. I've learned the information. And then I have proof in the pudding. Like, everyone that we've taught this information to and has actually executed it has seen double or almost triple revenue year over year, because all of a sudden the information, these three big misconceptions that they've been following, go out the window and they're doing the right things. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about misconception number one. Number one is that you need more products to make more money. Now, when I go to Google and I say, how do I grow my apparel line? This is the thing that comes up. It says, make more product, make more inventory, buy more inventory, have more in your warehouse. My friend, this is not the way. Trust me. Everybody who is out there who is now a billion-dollar brand didn't start by making a gazillion products. They started by making one amazing product. I talk about Sarah Blakely a lot, right? Like, she started Spanx with one great product. And now look at her. She just sold her company for $1 billion. And she has so many different products in her line now. But when she started, it was one key product that she became known for. And then she incrementally grew that over the years. If you're looking at the billion-dollar brands now and looking at where they're at this moment, and then you're trying to replicate that in your brand while you're starting, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. I used to listen to Rachel Hollis all the time. Sometimes I still do listen to her podcast. And Rachel Hollis always used to say, don't you dare compare your beginning to my middle or my end. Don't you dare do that to yourself. Don't take the beginning of what you're trying to build, your startup company, the beginning of your career. And trust me, if you are in the first 10 years of your career, you're at the beginning. And so if you compare that beginning to anybody else's middle or end, you are going to fail. You're not doing the right things as a beginner, and things are different for you as a beginner. You have to start with one great minimum viable product that you become known for. You need to become famous for one key thing. If you think about Nike, they became famous for their running shoe, period. That was it. And then they grew and they were able to add more over time. There are so many different examples of this, and I want you to go back and I want you to do your own research. Look into how billion-dollar companies started. It's decades ago, and it's with one key product. So stop trying to add more inventory, more products, more styles, more colorways to your line that you don't need. You are spending and wasting your money by buying this inventory, developing this product that is not going to serve your bottom line. Consider what is evergreen in your line first. What are the items that you want to make and you want to have in your line forever? Again, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for the best black yoga tight in the freaking world? Then develop it and make sure that the entire world knows that you've got the best. Keep it in your line for freaking ever. This is something that you need to be able to build the base of your pyramid on. So when we talk about product pyramids here at the Business of Apparel, it all sits on your evergreen product line. It's the line that you need to have that you are going to offer to your customers over and over again. They can come to you 10 years from now and still get that product that they love. If you're a denim company specifically, like, for God's sake, stop changing the fit of your denim. If I have a pair of jeans that I love, I want to be able to come back 5 years from now and rebuy them when I start to get holes in the knees. I want to be able to come back 10 years from now and rebuy them when those ones get holes in the knees. Like, people changing product all the time and getting rid of the items that they become famous for is such a mistake. So make sure that you are focusing on that first before you're adding more products. Once you get to a point where your revenue and your profits are big enough, and we can help you understand that during our workshop and here at Unmarked Street, if you're interested in working with us, we can help you understand when those triggers are, when those profitability numbers come to fruition. We can help you figure out what's next. But if you're just starting out, I want you to be focusing on one key thing. Misconception number 2 really goes hand in hand with number 1, but it is different in its own way. We all want to be liked, right? We want everybody to love our brand. We want everybody to follow us. We want social media to be blowing up about our brand. So we think in order to make everybody happy, we need to make something for everyone. And so you can totally see how these go hand in hand, right? Like, you don't want to niche down. We totally said earlier that I am guilty of this. I totally get it. I understand where you're at. I don't want to niche down either, because this information is important to so many different people. But you don't want to niche down at your company. You want to make something for everyone. I'm going to give you an example here. When I used to work at an athletic apparel company, we were running apparel for every single kind of runner in the world. So we actually had a really small run line, but we had people who were advocating for marathon runners. We had people who said, we need to make sure that we have something in the line for the women who go to the gym and run on the treadmill. We need to have something for ultra marathoners, people who are out there like day in and out in crazy conditions. We need to have someone who just wants to do their first 5K. And it made everything so muddy. Every time we went to build a tech pack, or every time we went to choose a fabric or run a fitting or have a meeting about the costing of something, we didn't know who we were actually trying to sell to. We didn't know who the product was for. And so if you're not focused on who your key target customer is, you will struggle. And so this is something else that we talk about a lot in the entrepreneurial world. Regardless of what kind of a business you own or run, you really want to be niching down your target customer. Maybe we should take this, I'm not niching down enough, but my niche is the person who needs to learn this information. It's the person who doesn't know the secrets behind the billion-dollar brands. It's the person who hasn't had the opportunity to have a 10 or 20-year career inside the industry. It's someone who wants to learn this information quickly from someone who's made all the mistakes already and distilled it down into the most pertinent information. That's my target customer, and then it kind of flows out from there. But if you're able to identify your target customer, and I always recommend that you give them a name so that when you're thinking about them, you have a name in mind, you have a visualization in mind of who that person is, you will be able to focus so much better on those key products that you need to be making first. So instead of making something for everyone, have you heard the saying, if you're making something for everyone, you're actually making something for no one, because you're not focused. You're not actually filling a need for a key person who is in your community. Instead, you're trying to fill various needs for various people, and it doesn't end up making a lot of sense. Even to your biggest fans, they don't understand what you're doing, and so they end up going somewhere else. So stop trying to make something for everyone. Look, in the fashion and apparel industry, one of the hardest things is that everyone's got an opinion about it. Everyone wears clothes, or everyone has a relationship with clothes in some way. Even if you live at a nudist colony and you don't wear clothes, there's a relationship there with apparel that you have, that you've chosen this very drastic way of living. You have chosen to basically live off the grid and do something that not the rest of society is choosing to do, because you have some sort of relationship with apparel. Because of that, everybody has an opinion about it. Everybody likes things, dislikes things. Things fit people different ways. Clothes create personality and emotions, and it's something that is not possible to please everybody with. Let that sink in for a little bit. You cannot possibly make everyone happy with your apparel line. And you have to accept that if you are going to continue in this industry. You are always going to have haters out there. You are always going to have somebody who doesn't like what you've put out, who doesn't think that your garments fit well. That's just the nature of the beast in this industry. So stop trying. Stop trying to make something for everyone. You're just fighting yourself at the end of the day. The third biggest misconception is that people believe that building apparel only takes a few months. I genuinely have no freaking idea where this came from. Those of us who have been in the industry for a long time, when we hear from startup brands, or we hear from new people in the industry, or we hear from students that they think that they can build an apparel line, a collection, even a single style in just a few months, we all look at each other and go, they're crazy. We're talking about you behind your back. When you're saying that stuff to us, we're all calling each other being like, I've got another client on the phone who thinks they can do this in just 3 months. Trust me, it is crazy to try to do that. You are setting yourself up for failure. We have talked about this ad nauseum. I talk about calendars and timelines all the time. And so you should know by now that it actually takes 9 to 12 months to launch even a single style. If you want to add a few more styles to that, actually you gain a lot of productivity. So if you add maybe, 3, 4 styles to that, and you're actually just developing 5 as a collection and you want to launch that, it's still the same 9 months to a year. If you are in a very traditional apparel model, though, where you actually have to give samples to a sales team, and they're going to go to your wholesale partners, and they're going to work with your buyers, and so you have to have a salesman sample kit, it could actually take up to 2 years to develop your apparel line. If you are running into factories or manufacturers who are telling you, we'll do it for you in a few months, I really, really want you to see that as a huge red flag. Number one, they are going to do it in a way where they own your goods, not you. So all of a sudden, the styles that you're selling, you don't actually own the documentation on it. You don't own the pattern. You don't own the fit. And they can sell it to somebody else without you knowing, or without you having any say, because you didn't actually do the work yourself. You let your factory own that for you. It's a huge risk. Number two, if they're saying that they can take you from idea to production in 3 to 4 months, you are going to be getting crappy product. I've never seen it where it's done in 3 to 4 months and you get really good product. Now, I will say those of us who have mastered the apparel development, technical design, product management skills in this industry know the different ways to push and pull levers. Yes, I said levers and buckets and all of those stupid cliche words. We know how to push and pull the levers to make sure that you can launch faster than 9 or 12 months. We've been able to get some people there in 6 months. 3 to 4 months is crazy. It's really crazy. A lot of manufacturers need 60 days just to do the production alone. So I don't know how you're getting from idea to production approval in just 1 to 2 months. I really don't know how you're doing it. You're not checking your grade rule. So if you don't care about your grade rule, maybe you can do it, but you should. Oh my God, you should care about your grade rule, because that's how the garment is going to fit on all of the different bodies that you're offering this garment to. And if you're going to seclude certain people and you're only going to give them a garment that doesn't fit, and if you're going to seclude certain sizes and only fit maybe on a medium or on a small during your 2 development rounds, maybe in 1 to 2 months, you are going to be doing a huge disservice to anybody who wears an extra small, a double extra small, or an extra large, or a double extra large. Those are the sizes that you need to be paying attention to when you are working on your grade. And if you are not checking it, you are not getting a size run, you're not checking a size set, you are going to be doing yourself and your customers a huge disservice. Expect a lot of returns, expect a lot of bad reviews. And if your factory is saying that they can produce things for you in less than 60 days, I want you to question that too. because you want them to actually take their time and sew everything right. You don't want to receive your production units with holes in them. You don't want to receive your production units with errors. You don't want to receive production units that you can't actually sell. And if you've been doing this, I guarantee you probably don't have a vendor agreement on the books. And that's the only way to protect yourself from B grade goods. So what happens when a factory produces something too quickly and you actually get poor quality in your production run? If you have a proper vendor agreement, you have a proper tech pack, and you have proof of what you asked for, you can actually go back to them and say, hey, these are B grade goods or these are C grade goods. These aren't good enough for me to sell. I need a discount on them, or I need you to give me my money back on them, essentially. If you don't have all of that documentation in place, you have no legs to stand on. And I guarantee you, if you're developing with a factory in 3 to 4 months, you don't have any of that stuff in place. You just don't. Any client I have ever talked to who has worked that fast with a factory doesn't even know what a tech pack is usually. They rely on their factory to do everything for them. They don't understand the risk that they put themselves into. I don't want you to do that. So again, all of this is just really surface level. Those are the 3 biggest misconceptions. I could talk about this all day and all of the different ways in which you should be doing better for you and your brand, you and your company, you and your career. But instead, I want you to come to our next free workshop on Friday. I want you to join us so that we can talk about it together. You can be part of the group. We're going to give you some resources on how you can actually continue your learning, maybe even get a certificate through us with a new education platform that could really take you so far. And so I'm really excited to be able to work on that with you. Every Friday, I'm genuinely going live in these workshops. I am going to be sitting there right there with you on Zoom, talking to you about all of this information, teaching you my 3-step framework to make sure that you are doing the right things, not these wrong things. I cannot wait to see you there. So go to thebusinessofapparel.com/secrets, and you can register for our next free workshop. You can learn all about it on the page there. And if you liked this episode, if there was anything that really rang out to you, please let us know. We would love to receive a review from you. Or if you're watching here on YouTube, please leave us a comment. We're definitely really interested in hearing comments, and we're really good usually about getting back to you with replies. Also, if this helped you in any way, or you think that it could help somebody else, I really ask that you share this episode with them. We are really excited about the growth we're seeing here at the Business of Apparel podcast, but there's so much more that we can be doing. There's so many more people that we can be reaching. So thank you for being here with me today. I can't wait to see you on Friday. I'll see you there, and let's talk soon. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Business of Apparel podcast. I would so appreciate hearing your thoughts on the show. And if you know someone who could benefit from it, please share it with them. My biggest desire is to help other apparel professionals understand the nuances of our industry so we can all work toward making better product for a better world. If you would like to connect further, I'd love to invite you to send me a message through my website, thebusinessofapparel.com, where I do weekly trainings through my YouTube video channel, a weekly newsletter, blog articles, and so many more resources to help you start and scale a profitable apparel brand. This podcast is produced by Box 7 Media, who I cannot speak highly enough of. If you're looking to start your own podcast, you can reach out to Jeremy at Box 7 Media on LinkedIn anytime.